is the DJV Download. I'm Doug.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Victoria.
This podcast made possible in part by Calitrin, the safe way to lose weight, Prevagen, keeping your brain healthy, and MyPillow, guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own. All right, so let's get at this. The Bob Saget investigation and all the things that have come out in the last, 2, 3, 4 weeks about his passing away. So why, it's all out of the box now, so what good is a judge saying it's got to be kept private when everybody knows everything now? Is that
there's still other things. Bob Saget's widow, Kelly Rizzo, and his 3 daughters filed a lawsuit against the Orange County Sheriff and the District 9 Medical Examiner's Office to keep some of the medical records private, and the judge did approve a temporary block that.
But why would that be? What are they afraid of?
I think pictures of the autopsy. I don't think they want anything leaking, maybe, right? Or the scene when they found him in bed.
Yes, because according to the documents, it's saying that the family would just be caused more harm.
Sure.
If further details came out, there's no, quote unquote, no legitimate public interest being served. Mm-hmm. So that's what the judge has decided, that, the family has a right to this. Everything
else is ghoulish. Isn't it, when you think about it? It's sort of the creepiness of wanting to see somebody. Like, I remember
I would never want to look at that. But remember the people passing the pictures of Kobe Bryant around and
Elvis.
And don't forget the Whitney Houston bathtub scene. Remember how
those
became really huge?
Yeah.
I mean, this is not new, for
and
sure.
And people pay all these the TMZs and the newspapers, the National Enquirer, pay big money for photos of these bodies. And again, I go back to seeing Elvis in a casket. That was, man.
Well, that's different because at least that's a public funeral, you know. Yeah. But aren't there pictures of him on the toilet? Right? Wasn't that always a rumor?
Yeah.
That when the police showed up, that was not a crime scene, but it was they had pictures. Yeah. But I also wonder if his family is going to be suing the Ritz-Carlton at the hotel that he was staying at, because he had a fall. And maybe there are cameras that maybe he fell in a stairwell, or maybe
Didn't they say it was
the
headboard now again? They're going back to that story.
I don't know,
Anyway, it is kind of ghoulish. Bob, let him leave us in peace, please. The power of good words are upon us as we think every day of what we have in our vocabulary and our experiences, the language of our brains and how our brains connect to the rest of us. The old spirit-mind-body connection, I think, is very evident here as we have our discussions about what's going on. The words that we use, I'm not sure you think about this when you're using the words, but if you train yourself to sort of think about what you say, the old expression I learned when I was in elementary school, put your mind in gear before your brain in gear before your mouth in motion. And certainly when we do this for a living, it's important to because we all are learning this more and more every day, that words carry meanings and intention and feelings with them. Sometimes I think we get overworked up about some of the phraseology and things that people say. I think a perfect example of that is Whoopi Goldberg but there are a lot of things that people say, whether they're famous or they're not famous, that are taken out of context. How many arguments have you had with your spouse about things that were misinterpreted? I certainly in my life have had things that either I've said that were misinterpreted or somebody that was close to me. It happens here all the time. All 3 of the ladies misinterpret a whole lot of stuff that I say. But, we kind of smooth it out and work it over and come up with a satisfactory solution to whatever that problem might be. So, and of course, they wouldn't tell you that there was a problem. It was my problem. Not their problem. It's my problem that I don't understand what they're saying.
You know what it is? And you actually, did you realize you are soulmates with Whoopi Goldberg? So here's the problem.
Yes, what?
When you criticize people for a living, when you are tough on people for a living, and when you comment on what other people say for a living, then when you say something that's not registering on the smart meter,
gets held up for ridicule,
then you get held up a little bit, right?
All right. Well, as an example of that,
I'm not saying you're Whoopi Goldberg, but
no. But you said something earlier. I was complimenting Phil McGeehan, who's at the controls in our studio in Washington. And then, you said that it was a left-handed compliment, or you didn't say it just that way, but you said it was
wow,
something.
that's really nice. I was actually...
No, that's not what you said at all.
I didn't say it was a left... No, I said, wow, Phil had a seizure because you gave him a compliment.
They said that was basically your way of saying that you loved Phil. It was nice.
Oh, okay. Anyway, one of the things that I like about being able to take things apart and putting them back together here is to examine silly little things that happen around our country and around the world, I guess, to a point. And the USA Today, this is what drives Victoria bonkers. When I have an actual newspaper in front of me, I have the newspaper. I have the USA Today.
They're just so dirty. They get ink all over your hands.
That's
so
the best
wash your hands. What is
the
big deal? No, actually, I don't know about ink, but stuff that's on paper is probably good to get in your body in modest amounts because it builds up your immune system. That's always... So, these people that continue to go around. Yesterday, I went to Washington yesterday for a meeting, and I was in the Hilton Hotel by the airport. And all these people come in and they spray that crap from Purell or whatever it is on their hands. So this lady, I do this all the time. I always pick out somebody who's doing it and I say, do you realize what you're doing? And this woman was a complete stranger, and I'm sure she thought I was bonkers. But I was sitting I was waiting for the two guys that I had the meeting with. And so I'm in the business room, and there are a couple of ladies who are obviously working on the Olympics because all their lingo was about the Olympics and what was going on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this one lady then gets up and goes over to the thing that's on the wall that you push to get the Purell out and does her hands. So I was busy minding my own business, but I saw that, and I'd asked her how to get on the internet when I couldn't figure it out. And then she does that. So I said, do you know how bad that is for your body? And she looked at me like I had two heads. And what do you mean? I said, when you put that stuff on your hands, you're not only killing the bad bacteria, but you're killing all the good bacteria that help to keep your body strong, your system working, your gut performing as it's supposed to. She thought I was completely out of my mind. I know I could tell by looking at her. But she said, thanks. Anyway, so I grabbed the USA Today there, and what to my wondering eyes should appear but the news from Massachusetts that they chose to print was the story about a proposed bylaw that's going to be taken up in Nantucket that would give everybody the right to go topless on all of the beaches on Nantucket. So what do you suppose that does for tourism? If not, I can't imagine.
I feel like that is... How can that... Is this something that the people who, own houses and live on Nantucket want?
No, that's why it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, wow.
But the fact that somebody bring it. So how many more people do you think the people of Delray Beach in Florida? Okay, it's going to be a city council there is going to take up an amendment.
Well, that makes more sense in Florida, but Nantucket.
But they have topless beaches. I remember when I was a kid, my mother was sick, and so my father bought a place in Palm Beach on Singer Island in 1964. And I remember the first time we were down there, it's Riviera Beach, Singer Island, that whole area. There was a nude beach. I remember it was the first time I ever saw an old man naked. And it was the most, it scarred me for life.
You're not for this, though. I would think that this screams Doug Stephan, because you're very European with your,
What, topless on women go topless on the beach? Well, if there's an age limit, maybe. Yeah, maybe up to a certain age, it's okay. But after that...
Oh, you mean age limit in the other way. Oh, my God. I thought you were saying, well, no, I'm not a perv. No one under 18 or no one under 21.
He doesn't
you're doing
want
it the other way.
60-year-olds.
Yeah, he doesn't want anybody over 40. That's really what he's saying.
Maybe 50. Depends. Maybe there's got to be some sort of a checking. When you check in to come into the beach, there's got to be somebody checking you out.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Well,
I don't know if that's going to... So the proposal is that all the beaches are topless?
Yeah.
Not just designated beaches?
Yeah, no.
I'd be all for it as long as it's bottomless, too. Why should guys have none of the fun? Let's just if women get to show
Do you really want to see...
Yep. Bring it all.
Junk?
Oh, God.
Absolutely.
I'd leave the beach.
Really? Mm-hmm.
This is very European, The Europeans
wear
clothes when they sunbathe.
Yeah. But the men at least stick to Speedos, which is awful enough, but...
I happened to find myself in Germany on a Catholic holiday during the summer months, and they didn't stick to Speedos.
Wow. So that was I bet
face down in the grass, like no towel, no blanket, just full junk and grass.
Yeah. Jay's being very quiet about this. Maybe she likes going to naked beaches.
Hey, to each their own.
Yeah.
Well, the people
who feel comfortable and confident, go get at it.
Sure.
You don't want to look? Don't look.
If the people who are always on the naked beach are never really, no one looks like J-Lo and no one looks like, Gronk, or, it's just not the people that you want to see naked.
But if they're confident and happy with it, rock it. Why not?
Sure.
All right, a couple of other notes regarding the pandemic and COVID, et cetera, et cetera. The news that Victoria has for us, focusing on all these devices in the households where there is Comcast Internet. Comcast is the biggest of these companies now because they own NBC, they own Universal Productions. They're a huge, huge, huge conglomerate. So does it surprise us to learn that 1 billion devices that are connected to Comcast were somehow or other...
Well, I mean, more people were at home, right? And everybody needed Wi-Fi to work from home and do remote learning for school. But yeah, I mean, and then when you look at what sectors have grown, so the number of devices has grown 12-fold between 2018 and 21. Health devices were the fastest growing category. So that's smartwatches, smart rings, fitness trackers, things like that. That actually grew 39 times since 2018. And then smartphones are still the number one connected device. But then what another surprise was that Comcast customers had 36 million gaming consoles connected to Wi-Fi. That was a 15-fold increase since 2018. So gaming's becoming more popular too. Apparently. But I think a lot of this has to do with the pandemic. Like, put the kids in front of the video game while mom and dad are on video calls with work. I mean, I think that there's a whole lot of that, that happened.
Yeah. The pandemic also has brought about a sort of a boom in small businesses, new businesses being started at a rapid clip. And maybe, I think that's a good sign for the economy. It's also a good sign for taking down some of the influence of the huge conglomerates that seem to dominate all of the attention when it comes to the business world. A lot of new businesses, matter of fact, 5.5 million applications to start new companies last year, which is twice as many as had been done, let's say, back in 2019.
And that's also part of the Great Resignation, right? Everyone's talking about that.
I think you could make that conclusion. Yeah, I think you could.
Yeah, I mean, well, the labor statistics have documented that's really what happened. So when people, and we've asked this question too, like, well, where did everyone go? Everyone left the workforce, so there are all these jobs open. Well, a lot of them, 5 million of them, have started their own business. So I think that's great. Every time my dad has run small businesses, you're a small business owner. I feel like the most employment I've ever gotten, with the exception of one company, have all been small businesses. So I think it's a vital, vital part of the American economy.
Yeah. Well, it is. Small businesses run the country.
Yeah.
Even though the big businesses take all the oxygen out of the room. And they're always trying to put these little guys out of business, like the big radio companies have always been trying to put me out of business. That's probably what made me more stick to what I was doing than anything else. The fact that somebody didn't want me to do it and still doesn't want me to do it. So
Don't you tell this middle child you can't do something.
No, not at all. I learned in my meeting yesterday, this is inside baseball, but I'll share it because I think it's an interesting... It kind of shows you what the power is of big conglomerates. I often talk about there's 3 big companies that control most of the radio stations, most of the radio product in the country. Did you know, Jennifer, maybe you, because you and your dad run a radio company in addition to all the stuff you do on the air, that the iHeart company has a new device that they use in every city. Somehow they listen to the radio in every single radio station is on their on their radar, and they grab information about commercials that they don't have and go solicit those commercials, cut the price, and they get the business.
Wow.
Yeah,
no, that's
exactly.
Interesting.
Technology.
Yeah. Is that a horse?
Actually, it's a wild stallion. Since Navy Federal Credit Union's Platinum Card made it easier to tame our holiday debt, I wanted to see if I could tame something else.
Uh-huh.
Help me saddle up. I need to pick the kids up from school.
With a low intro APR on balance transfers, the Platinum Credit Card lets you take control of your debt. Learn more at NavyFederal.org/Platinum offer. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
Time to check out our social media trending items from Twitter and Facegram and Facegram. I've got a new one. It's Facegram, along with Instabook. How about that? We do Instabook and we do Facegram. I think that's cool. Jay, what do you say? We'll start a new business. You like that?
At DJV shows the handle, no matter where it is.
No matter where it is. All right, who's Linda Evangelista, and why do we care what's going on with her body?
This is the former supermodel who had that really bad cool sculpting situation that left her pretty much deformed and quote unquote unrecognizable. We had talked about this recently. Well, she did an interview which included pictures with People magazine, and she just talks about how she felt like she couldn't live this way anymore. She was hiding herself. At one point, she loved being on the catwalk, to all of a sudden she was terrified of ever leaving her house and running into somebody that she knew. Because with cool sculpting, it's fat freezing and it's supposed to decrease your fat cells. But in her case, she developed a side effect that actually increased and hardened fat cells, where the doctors were telling her this is irreversible. No matter no amount of diet or exercise you do, these areas are not going to shrink. And so she actually filed a lawsuit for $50 million in damages, claiming that this was a risk she was not made aware of. And she's sharing her story because A, she's tired of hiding and living this recluse, depressed life. And B, she wants to help other people not have to go through the same thing. So
is this the stuff that gets advertised, Sambalima or whatever it is? What's that, Sambala? What's that company?
No, Kybella is, this is something different.
Yeah,
I think Kybella
cool
is what you're
sculpting.
thinking of. That's for the under, the jowls and the whole area of your neck and under the chin.
No, this is an ad for you're getting the body fat off of your middle. That's the.
This is
Sambala?
a procedure. This is different. This is a procedure where they go and they freeze the fat. And in her case, instead of having the fat cells just shrink and then disappear, they turned into hardened lumps. It looks like she's got like tumors hanging off of her body.
Ugh.
So
Can't they
she
be
said,
removed?
I don't know if you've seen the pictures.
Operation?
Yeah, we sent the pictures from People magazine, and so she's tried to have them removed, but there's nothing that they can do. So it's like they just keep coming back. And she posted pictures of her legs, her thighs, and it's just all lumps. And this is literally, at one time, she was the world's biggest supermodel. She was right up there with Naomi Campbell and Cindy Crawford and Christy Turlington. They were all part of that same class of supermodels. And so all of those other women are still working.
Her, Doug. Yeah, you would definitely recognize her.
There are pictures that Jay sent in your email. There are all those other women are working. And so Linda had said, everyone keeps asking me before they knew what happened, why aren't you working? And her face still looks the same. I mean, it's a little bit.
She's still beautiful.
She's still beautiful, but her face is just like a little bit jowly. So it doesn't look like a lot of damage was done above her neck, but the rest of her body, you can see. Yeah, you can see where the lumps are. She said she can't lower her arms down next to her sides because the big lumps underneath her armpits are preventing her from doing that. I think she's incredibly brave to come forward, and this is probably the thing that a supermodel fears the most, is posting pictures where you look like deformed.
The before pictures don't look like she was had any of the stuff that would worry you. I suppose maybe you get older and you want to make sure your body's perfect.
I think she's still beautiful. I'm glad she's coming out.
Nice face.
She's live. I mean, she's still gorgeous. Come on.
Yep.
Well, just like you are, Jennifer. Jennifer is still gorgeous, as is Victoria, as is Jay. And Phil, you're still gorgeous, too. Somebody asked me the other day how he could lose his belly fat.
Calitrin targets all over body fat. Of course, belly fat tends to be where everybody carries it, but Calitrin just really gives your body back what it needs. So it revs up your metabolism naturally, and you burn off those fats and sugars the way that your body wants to. So you do lose the belly fat along with just all over toning too.
So does Calitrin work best with a diet, with an exercise program?
Well, we have people that have had success with it both ways. Obviously, if you're eating better, eating in moderation, staying away from the sugars and the sodas, you're going to see results faster than if you're just taking it by itself. But our 90-day program, that huge 86% success rate that we have, that's just with taking Calitrin alone. So check it out on our website, toploss.com. All the information is at toploss.com. That's TOPLOSS.com, or call us 1-833-TOP-LOSS.
And use the DJV code for all these specials when you check out. What is going on with Aaron Rodgers and Shailene Woodley? Miss Granola, he's a big football player. Where they were hot and heavy for a while, weren't they?
I guess. I mean, they were together. They were engaged. They both confirmed their engagement. It seemed from the beginning like they were just a very odd pair. And so she's never seen a football game in her life. And it's very strange. And so, apparently this is after a couple of weeks of online rumors that they were broken up. And so now it's sort of been confirmed that they are no longer together. Now, obviously, one of the things that Shailene Woodley, the actress, if you don't remember her name, she's been in the Divergent series. She was in Big Little Lies. She's won all kinds of awards. And
she's everywhere.
She's really talented actress. And so, but she's also very political. I mean, she has been arrested chaining herself to pipelines. I mean, she is very much an environmentalist. She's, she's been out. She's been very vocal about that. And so apparently she and Aaron Rodgers are on the opposite end of the political spectrum, which, that can work for some couples. It's probably difficult for others. And I think it turns out a lot of the insiders are saying that they basically just sort of took a agree to disagree stance on a number of subjects. And so they never talked about their politics, which is sort of an issue when, if you can't talk about stuff, then you probably shouldn't be engaged. Apparently they disagreed on a lot of things, and they just sort of agreed from the beginning to just not debate them. But then when the whole Aaron Rodgers lying about being vaccinated, when that all came out, a lot of heat kind of went to her. And I don't know what her stance on vaccines are, but she's a working actress in Hollywood, so I would assume that she is vaccinated.
I would think, right.
And he lied about being vaccinated, so I'm sure that there were just fundamental cracks there.
Right. Well, it happens to the best of us under the circumstances.
Better that they didn't get married, right?
That's right,
even
exactly.
Worse.
Why get married when you don't have to? There it is. And then you don't have to invite your friends to the wedding because you don't have to have a wedding.
I am Robert Strickler. My wife Joyce and I have been married for 53 years. Certainly one of the really important things in my life are our children and our grandchildren. I am essentially a writer. I've been involved in communications in the media. I've been an avid fly fisherman for at least 40 or more years. I've been taking Prevagen on a regular basis for at least 8 years. For me, the greatest benefit over the years has been that Prevagen seems to help me recall things and also think more clearly, have a crisper ability to remember and think through things. And I enthusiastically recommend Prevagen. It has helped me an awful lot.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life. Robert Strickler is a content contributor for Prevagen and real user, based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is the DJV Download. I'm Doug.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Victoria.
This podcast made possible in part by Calitrin, the safe way to lose weight, Prevagen, keeping your brain healthy, and MyPillow, guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own.